This piece is the D minor piece from the Selected Studies for Oboe, page 8. It is from set 1 of the All Region Music. So this piece is based on the D harmonic minor scale for the most part, so you'll see that there's a number of C sharps in it. What you learn for your All Region tryouts is your D natural minor, so you learn that it has a B flat in it. So when we change it to the harmonic minor, we have a sharp 7th. So in this case it's C sharp. So your scale is D, E, F natural, G, A, B flat, C sharp, D. Your D harmonic minor sounds like this. What you'll notice, first thing, probably not the first thing you'll notice, but something that I want you to notice, if you look at the third from the bottom line, you see something that looks kind of scalar, and in fact it is scalar, but it's not the D harmonic minor, and it is not the D natural minor that you're used to. It's another form of the minor scale. So there's 3 different types of minor scales: the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. So in your melodic minor, you have sharp 6 and 7 on the way up. So what that means is that for the D scale, it would be D, E, F natural, G, A, B natural, C sharp, D on the way up the scale, but on the way back down the scale, it's the same as your natural minor. So you have D, C natural, B flat, A, G, F, E, D. So I'm going to play that 1 octave so you can hear it. So on that third from the bottom line, you have a melodic minor scale in the upper octave. So you have D, E, F natural, G, A, B natural, C sharp, D, coming back down, C natural, B flat, A, G, F, E, D. And that's where the scalar portion ends. So what that sounds like. The second to last line is simply a chromatic scale. So starting on D and ending on high D. Okay, so that's the tricky stuff that's near the end. We see about halfway through the piece that you end up with a lot of 32nd notes. The beginning of the piece is nice and slow, lots of 8th notes, and we have an 8th note pulse. So in the All Region specifications, it asks for the 8th note equals 92, which is this tempo from the beginning. So you hear it's nice and slow, it's rather mournful because it's D minor. We get down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th line, and you start to have things that look a little faster. Don't let the black notes scare you, it's not that fast. So we're still keeping that 92 for the 8th note pulse. So if you're counting this in 8th notes, 1, 2, 3E enda 4, 5E enda, 6E enda, 1E enda, 2E enda, 3E enda, 4E enda, 5E enda, 6E enda. Sounds fast? Start slow in your practicing. So let's slow it down a little bit to maybe around 66, just to get the notes under your fingers. Slow it down more if you need to. The measure after where I stopped, the 7th line, 2nd measure, notice that it's not all 30 seconds throughout the measure. So we tend to see black and freak out a little bit. So everything has to be fast if it's black. That's not the case here. It's nice and slow and mournful. We have 16th notes in the middle of our 30-second notes. So if we're counting in 6, 1E enda, 2E enda, 3 and 4E enda, 5 and 6E enda. So we have to make sure that that 3 and that 5 and are half the tempo of everything else. So they're slower. The next line, 2nd measure, it is essentially a written retard. It's not a retard. they changed the rhythm to make it sound like a retard. So we have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 La, Li, 4 La, Li, 5 and 6 and. So it sounds like it's slowing down even though the tempo is steady. And we can take a little breath there because there's not a whole lot of places to breathe, and then we can move on into our melodic minor D scale, which is what comes next. Okay, so I'm going to play through sections of this, and I'll stop and go through anything that I feel like needs to be covered if I find extra spots that I haven't covered so far. So our 92 for our 8th note. Okay, now that I have the tempo in my head. Breaking point. That's about halfway through the piece. In the 4th line, we start to see some 8th notes with trills. If you notice, I started that trill just a little bit slower and sped it up a tiny bit. So that measure, the first measure of 4th line. And then the 5th line, first measure. Don't try to fit too many trills in there, and don't try to make them too quick. It's a nice, slow piece. You want it to flow. You don't want anything to feel jolted or frantic. So let's move on to the second half of the piece. That's our D minor piece.